I'd like to call this meeting, the Clay County Commission, to order. We will begin with our invocation. Pastor Randy Mitchell is with us this evening, so please, as you come up, make sure that the green light is on the microphone. Introduce yourself and speak clearly into the microphone. So please
Thank
proceed.
you. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'm Randy Mitchell. I'm the pastor at the Christian Church in Kearney. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight, I'm mindful of the shepherd boy who took down a giant with a sling and a stone, and it was him who ascribed to you that your name is majestic in all of the earth. He stepped into the challenge of his day, and with his courage, he encouraged the hearts of those who were less courageous. I pray for those tonight who have stepped forward to face the challenges of these days. I pray you would give them courage. I pray you would give them wisdom that's necessary to lead. You offer wisdom with generosity over and over if we come and ask and humbly ask of you. We're grateful for the opportunity to live in such a wonderful community. I pray for those who protect us. I pray you bless the everyday unseen heroes, and may we be noble and virtuous citizens that love and care for others and honor you. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Nolte?
Here.
Commissioner Withington?
Here.
Commissioner Lawson?
Here.
Commissioner Wagner?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Here.
Next is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion related to approval of this evening's agenda? Commissioner Johnson, you're recognized.
I move to approve tonight's agenda as written.
Motion's been made for the approval of this evening's agenda as written. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next item on the agenda are public comments. Are there any members of the public present who would wish to comment? Well, that wasn't a comment I was looking for, but that's okay. When you do come up, please make sure that the microphone is on. Identify yourself and then proceed. Mr. Sheriff, I believe you have the microphone.
Good evening. Will Aiken, Sheriff of Clay County. I just want to start by saying that I'm glad to be back in Clay County after the last 4 days that I've had. And I'll share a little bit with you about what I've been doing and along with some other things. But I just want to start off by saying again that I have a tremendous amount of respect for each and one of you for everything that you do. Now, who leads off like that and not expect a but, right? There's no but about it. I really do, because after the last 4 days spent in Cochise County, Arizona, with Sheriff Daniels and his team, and the challenges that they have on the border, and for me to see it with my own eyes and to experience it personally, we have it amazing here. I just want to say that. We have a good thing going in Clay County. After all the years that we've had up into the point that we had 7 commissioners, when I was able to share with Sheriff Daniels and his team that we have 7 commissioners as opposed to 3, their jaws dropped. They were like, what, you're a county? So they couldn't comprehend that, because the challenges, the political challenges that they have over there are much like what we experienced in previous administrations. But now we have this dynamic. For the most part in this room, we can disagree on issues, but we're still able to work together on matters of public interest, promote understanding, and expand knowledge. Speaking of knowledge, I want to take a moment to present to you a professional snapshot of who I am. Dropped out of high school when I was 16 years old. My work ethic took it from there. Before getting my GED, I was working 3 jobs. to help support my mom and my brother. I would deliver 200 newspapers to houses in the morning before going to my regular job as a fleet/transport manager for an agricultural manufacturing plant, and then I would deliver pizzas at night. From there, I joined the military after I got my GED. I have an associate degree in behavioral science from Georgia Military College, a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and a master's degree in business administration with a concentration in management from California Coast University. I have a graduate certificate in criminal justice education from the University of Virginia and a Doctor of Education degree with a concentration in ethical leadership from Olivet Nazarene University. I've been in law enforcement for over 21 years and have worked with the Phoenix Police Department, with the South Bend Police Department, and the Clay County Sheriff's Office. I've even worked in Afghanistan as an advisor, mentoring Afghan police chiefs, guiding them through a democratic way of policing. I'm a graduate of the FBI National Academy, the Senior Management Institute for Police, the National Sheriff's Institute. I'm currently attending the FBI's Law Enforcement Executive Development Seminar. And I'm also proud to announce that out of all the sheriffs in the country, I was recently invited to be the newest faculty member for the National Sheriff's Institute. I will now be in a position to teach first-term sheriffs leadership through the leadership courses. My favorite position, though, over the last 21 years has been being the Clay County Sheriff. I have been the Clay County Sheriff for the last 3.5 years, and the oath I swore reads as follows. I, Will Aiken, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Missouri, that I will faithfully demean myself in the office of Sheriff. Additionally, as an elected sheriff, I recognize and accept that I am given a special trust and confidence by the citizens whom I have been elected to serve, represent, and by the employees I manage. This trust and confidence is my bond to ensure that I will behave and act according to the highest personal and professional standards. In furtherance of this pledge, I will read just the first code of 10 codes of ethics that every sheriff should subscribe to, which can be found on the National Sheriff's Association's website. I shall ensure that I and my employees, in the performance of our duties, will enforce and administer the law according to the standards of the United States Constitution, the applicable state constitutions, and statutes so that equal protection of the law is guaranteed to everyone. To that end, I shall not permit personal opinion, party affiliations, or consideration of the status of others to alter or lessen this standard of treatment of equal protection under the law. Since I'm not going to read all 10, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to Missouri statute. Missouri statute 565.130, kidnapping, third degree. A person commits the offense of kidnapping in the third degree if he or she knowingly restrains another unlawfully and without consent so as to interfere substantially with his or her liberty. The offense of kidnapping is in the third degree is a Class A misdemeanor unless the person unlawfully restrained is removed from the state of Missouri, in which this case it is a Class E felony. The point I'm trying to make here is that I'm always working on being the best version of myself, both personally and professionally. I always strive to be up to date on trends in law enforcement and to be the tip of the spear when leading the Clay County Sheriff's Office. So when people say that they're disappointed in me for not doing my job, the job they think I should be doing, I have to ask why. Are they disappointed in me for not adhering to, or for me adhering to my oath? Are they disappointed with me for refusing to become a criminal? Or are they just disappointed with me for not mirroring a specific emotional response derived from vitriolic political rhetoric? I won't speculate and try to answer that question, but I do know this. I haven't violated my oath. I refuse to break laws, and I certainly haven't brought discredit upon the Sheriff's Office or Clay County. I read and support Resolution 2024-165, which was passed last week. It is what I was hoping the commission would pass. It is a statement made by you reiterating your collective position on the matter. It's not an ordinance. It doesn't establish a new law. And simply highlights, and it doesn't create a preemptive legal conflict with the United States government. I think there are 5 or 6 states right now being sued by the Department of Justice because they've created immigration laws that they didn't have the right to do so. It simply highlights the Missouri statutes and the U.S. codes that we've been following and enforcing for over 30 plus years. We've already been doing it. I hated bringing this issue back up, especially after the resolution was passed, but I wasn't here when statements were made about me during a meeting where I couldn't defend myself. Not important enough to restate, though. I'm not going to bring it up. It's a dead issue. I'm thick-skinned, but the issue that I have is that I wasn't here to address it when it was said. Ultimately, it was taken out of context, resulting in me being questioned in doing my job and multiple citizens contacting me and complaining about me not doing my job. I have no problem explaining my position to anyone, but it does bring me down a little that I was placed in that position in the first place. I will conclude with this. After spending the last couple of days working with Sheriff Daniels, the sheriff of Cochise County, Arizona, and his team personally observing the realities of the border crisis, I just want to say that I'm proud to call each and every one of you my commissioners. Because a lot of sheriffs in the country don't have a commission like I do. And I'm proud of that. And every chance that I get to talk about the relationship that I have with my commissioners and the commissioners caring for our community the way you do, it makes them question their situation, which is already difficult. But I think they envy us in what we have today. Thank you for caring about our community enough for openly discussing the immigration issue. That is not the same level of community care shared by all county governments. My team and I will be working on a report describing our experiences and our takeaways from our visit to Cochise County, Arizona, and I do hope to be able to present a version of it to you in a future meeting. I can't say enough that I sincerely appreciate everything that you do for Clay County and for me and my office. So with that, thank you for everything. That's all.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any other members of the public wishing to make any comments at this time? Seeing none. That brings us to our consent agenda. Administrator?
The consent agenda allows the Commission to act upon items considered to be routine and approved in one motion. These may include items that have been reviewed by the Commission in prior session. There will be no separate discussion unless a Commissioner requests that an item be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. There are 3 items on the consent agenda this evening. The first item for consideration is approval of the Commission meeting minutes from May 2nd, May 9th, and from May 16th, along with Resolution 2024-167, approving invoice payments for Clay County from May 11th to May 22nd. There are 556 invoices totaling $1,930,912.06, and 2024 Ordinance 17, which is the reappropriation and revision to the adopted budget for the current year, the annual operating expenses of the Clay County co-located dispatch center out of the 911 fund in the amount of $35,675.
Is there a motion related to this evening's consent agenda? Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, sir. I move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Motion has been made for the approval of this evening's consent agenda. Further discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next on our agenda is the regular agenda. First item is 2024-166. Administrator?
Resolution 2024-166 is a request of waiver of fees, interest, and penalties and taxes due to a county error. The applicant is Kelly Guardhouse. Unfortunately, the applicant could not be here this evening, so Administrative Services Officer Dieta Jacobs will present the information provided by the applicant, and then Assessor Baldwin and Collector O'Reilly are here to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you. Please proceed. Of course. Commissioner Withington, let me recognize you and put on your microphone first. You are recognized. Please proceed.
Do we know when she might be able to attend? I just don't want us to get put into the same position we did last time where we made a decision, then we had to make because they showed up the following week. So if they could show up in a couple weeks, can we move this to a couple weeks?
The problem for this particular applicant is their schedule of work, and they work late enough that it would be very difficult for them to get here. So we were going to offer a different evening, but the timing is the issue.
Okay, I just didn't want us to run into
I
the same
appreciate
issues
that.
last time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. That was a very apt inquiry, so I appreciate that. Any other comments before we go forward? Please proceed.
Good evening. Dieta Jacobs, Administrative Services Officer. The information provided by the citizen reads as follows. Greetings. I am from a state that does not assess personal property, so this is new to me. Further complicated by the fact I did not reliably, timely receive mail at my apartment complex in Clay County. This is why my assessments had been late in 2020, 2021, and now 2022. I spoke with a representative at the assessor's office on 5/9/24 and was reminded of a contact on 10/28 of 22 in which I reported my change of address and was sent an email with instructions to complete my 2022 assessment. I went back through my emails and did receive the referenced correspondence. However, it had gone unread at the time it was sent, buried in the copious amounts of spam emails I receive on a daily basis. I take accountability for my part in this oversight. However, the lack of reliable mail service I experienced during my residency in Clay County was a primary factor. I realize this situation does not involve an error on the part of Clay County, and I am not owed forbearance in this matter. However, I am asking for compassion and leniency with regard to the penalties and interest assessed as a result of the situation. Of note, I had a lot on my plate in 2022 with the critical illness and death of my father, purchase of a new home, change of address/transfers of service on all accounts, and the start of a new job. I had a lot of balls in the air and dropped this one. I will sincerely appreciate any penalties and/or interest charges that can be waived and refunded. Thank you for your time and consideration in this matter. If you need additional documentation, I can be reached at, and she did not complete a phone number.
Okay. Is there any discussion or any, I guess we really can't ask questions about that, but are there any observations from the written statement of the applicant? Seeing none, is there any anything from county staff that they would like to express? Obviously, we have the comments on the page. Is there anything that staff would like to add? And if not, is there anyone else present who would like to make comment on this item? Very good. Commissioner Johnson, you are recognized.
Couple questions. So she says in her letter here that there's no error on the county part. She admits that. But then talks about maybe some error on the mail service, but doesn't give any specifics of that. Did she share any specifics with anybody on dates or anything that, and it says it looks like she was late 3 years in a row, 2021 and 22, all 3 years she was late?
I'll let the collector, since I'm speaking for the citizen, I'll
Okay.
let the collector answer for that.
Okay.
Barbara O'Reilly, collector, yes, she was late both years.
And did any explanation as to why?
No.
I assume she was penalized those years as well and paid
Yes,
for
sir.
those already?
Yes, and she paid penalty and interest on both years.
Okay. Unless somebody else has something else, I move to approve 2024-166 with the box mark denies.
Motion been made for the approval of 2024-166 with the box marked denied. Commissioner Carpenter, I believe you're seeking recognition.
Thank you. Yeah, I support Commissioner Johnson's motion. This one is, pretty clear cut in terms of that we don't have the option of waiving the interest and penalties here. I assume we made every effort to let her know that that was going to be the outcome based upon the facts. So,
Tracy Baldwin, Clay County Assessor. With your question, Commissioner, I wanted to point out that when we emailed, the dates on this email look a little far apart, so I wanted to explain that a little more to extent. So she sent in her change of address on the 10/28. The question that I had is why we would have emailed her at such a later date. Well, when it was above and beyond for the staff to do that. So when they got the change of address, they were filling it out, they noticed that she hadn't done her assessment at that time. That's why we went ahead and emailed the taxpayer back to remind them to do their assessment. So there's also a assessor penalty as well for being late on their assessment turned in.
I appreciate the clarification. And just, again, I assume during the appeal process, we let her know that the rules, if the county's not at fault, that she was not going to be able to get
I myself never
way.
had contact with this taxpayer. I can't speak for Barbara or her staff.
All right. Thank you.
Typically, we do everything possible to try to, rectify the situation.
Thanks. I support the motion. Thanks.
Okay. Further discussion? Questions? It does seem to me that when we talk about trying to seek some sort of expanded authority on the part of the county, one of the things that we talk about is that would be a parameter, would be a record of on-time payment for the past X number of years. The fact that she was late last year, is that correct? Last 2 years indicates a pattern that I think supports the motion made. And, I do think we ought to have a little bit more latitude, but we do need to strike a reasonable balance, I believe. So I must agree with the comments of both Commissioner Johnson and Commissioner Carpenter. Further discussion? Seeing none. Commissioner, you're recognized to close.
Before I close, I do want to say if Ms. Guardhouse is watching this for some reason, that we are somewhat sympathetic. Unfortunately, we don't have any control over some of these things. And I'm certainly sympathetic of the situation she's in and some of the trying times she went through during this time. But unless we can, one, show it's the fault of the county, or number two, when you talk about the mail service, show that maybe you mailed it on time, it just didn't get here on time because of the mail service, or something along those lines. If it isn't either of those two, we really can't do a whole lot about it. And although many of us would like to grant some leniency for hardships like this, but unfortunately the law doesn't allow us to do that. So don't think that we're heartless on that, but we're bound by the law. So with that, I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next item on this evening's regular agenda is 2024-168, Administrator.
Resolution 2024-168 is consideration of approving invoice payments for the Clay County Prosecutor's Office for the period of May 11th through May 22nd. There are 8 invoices totaling $6,393.17.
Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2024-168.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2024-168. Further discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
I recuse myself.
And Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Motion passes 5 in favor, 1 recusal.
Next item on the regular agenda is 2024-169, Administrator.
Resolution 2024-169 is approving the purchase agreement and acknowledgement to purchase 3 quad cab Freightliner dump trucks from Premier Truck Group of Kansas City for our Highway Department. And Highway Administrator Griffin is here to provide information to the Commission.
Please proceed.
Terry Griffin, Highway Administrator. This is a request for authorization to purchase 3 replacement crew cab dump trucks for the Highway Department. They'll be replacing 2014 model International trucks that are in need of constant repair, and we continue to have escalating repair costs on those. The 3 units that we have will continue to be used until the new units are delivered, and so the trade-in value on those will be determined within 60 days of the actual delivery of the new vehicles. The new trucks are not expected to be delivered until late in 2025. That is very typical of how every brand of dump truck deliveries are at this point in time. Each of the new trucks will cost $192,770, and that includes extended warranties on all 3 of them. The lease interest rate, which we have asked Commerce Bank to finance that for us, they cannot give us a guaranteed lease or interest rate until we get closer to the actual time of signing the lease. Based on that and the trade-in allowance, all we can do is give an estimate of the cost, and we estimate right now the cost from Commerce is estimated to be $127,583 a year for 5 years in order to purchase these trucks. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them.
Are there any questions or comments? Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. Just a quick one. So lease term will be for 5 years. How long do we expect the trucks to last?
Probably close to 10 years.
Okay, so kind of keeping with the cycle of the past trucks, and we'll just...
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Is there a motion? Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2024-169.
Motion's been made for the approval of 2024-169. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next item on the agenda is 2024-170. Administrator.
Resolution 2024-170 is a transfer within the fund of the amount of $19,260 for a payment to MoDOT to return an over reimbursement for 2 bridge projects. Highway Administrator Griffin is here to provide information to the Commission.
Please proceed.
Terry Griffin, Highway Administrator. MoDOT has informed the county that on 2 of our recent BRO bridge projects, they have over-reimbursed us in the amount of $19,260 total. Those are the 2 bridges are the Northeast 188th Street Bridge and the Greenwood Road Bridge. We have some, those bridges, the BRO project bridges, we pay the vendors, the contractors, and the engineers, and then MoDOT reimburses us for what funds we've expended on specific percentages. There has been a variety of miscommunication between MoDOT and the county based on their staff changeovers, and they also had a complete accounting change, which I think some of us can understand with our Munis changeover that we've just gone through here. It was a statewide change, but all those things combined have the miscommunication resulted in the county being over-reimbursed by the $19,260 total. And so MoDOT is requesting that we return those funds. And just so you know, the over-reimbursement on the Northeast 188th Street Bridge was $19,222.64, and the Greenwood Road Bridge was over-reimbursed by $37.30. And I'll be glad to answer any additional questions you may have.
Commissioner Wagner, you're recognized.
Thank you. My night. Just so I understand, is the over-reimbursement due because MoDOT basically paid the reimbursement twice? Or is it because they believe that what we were asking reimbursement for was not reimbursable for whatever reason? It didn't qualify to be reimbursed as a cost.
It is actually because the reimbursement percentages change during the course of the contract. The 188th Street Bridge was first contracted for design in 2017, and it was not completed until 2023. So that was like a, what's that, 6-year contract, or 6 years of time. And during the first part of for the design portion of those contracts, the county was reimbursed correctly at 100%. And between the BRO funding and the soft match credits that we had on count. The county was never informed that that percentage changed when we went into construction, and so we continued submitting reimbursement requests at 100%. MoDOT continued paying those reimbursements at 100%, and as a result, we now have been over-reimbursed.
Okay, so the local match portion or whatever of that project changed. Someone in MoDOT didn't bother to tell us or someone else who was responsible for processing. And so basically someone has said, this is the part that you're supposed to pay for, or this is within the percentage of the match you were supposed to pay for, county. Okay, all right.
Yes.
Wouldn't be the first time the left hand didn't know what the right was doing. So thank you very much.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Could you, for the benefit of those watching and maybe not familiar, the acronym BRO, could you define that for those who are listening in the public?
Sure. BRO is the off-system, which means non-state bridge, the off-system bridge replacement and rehabilitation program. It is funded by the Federal Highway Administration and administered through MoDOT, and it typically pays 80% of the cost of bridge replacement on eligible bridges.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Move to approve 2024-170.
Motion's been made for approval of 2024-170. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
Close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington? Yes. Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. That brings us to the last item on our regular agenda. That would be 2024-172. Administrator.
Resolution 2024-172 is consideration the use of county grounds for electronic recycling event program by the Clay County Prosecutor's Office and PCs for People. And this evening we have from the Prosecutor's Office the Community Engagement Specialist, Cher Conger, and I'd invite her up to talk to the Commission about this program.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Cher Conger with the Prosecutor's Office, Community Engagement Specialist. In partnership with PCs for People, the Clay County Prosecutor's Office is asking for the use of 201 Mill Street parking lot on Saturday, June 15th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for an event that would provide Clay County residents a safe and convenient way to dispose of old and unused electronics. The accepted items include everything from old television sets, computers, laptops, cell phones, printers. If you name it, it's electronic, they will take it for free. The purpose of this event is to prevent identity theft and protect personal information. Even smart TVs can store your sensitive data. And just putting it on a street corner for a big bulk pickup, you run the risk of having that picked up and someone being able to get sensitive information like passwords or sign-ins. So PCs for People also recycles whenever possible, and to donate refurbished items to local charities. Some of those charities are included here in Clay County. They offer low-income families an opportunity to purchase refurbished items at very low income costs. This company is also Orion and NAID certified, which means that they ensure and have certification for hard drive overwriting and destruction. I've actually had the opportunity to go to their facilities, and it is a very secured lockdown facility. Additionally, they are zero landfill, so anything that they cannot recycle, they do destroy, and it's completely recycled, so there is no landfill. We'd like to host the event again on Saturday for 4 hours, free to the county, free to the residents. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions or any comments? Okay. Commissioner Wagner,
Just on
you
a roll.
again.
Just on a roll.
Well, you are rolling.
Just to recognize, I've worked with PCs for People all the way back when they were the Surplus Exchange. They're good people that do a great service, and I would encourage anybody to take advantage of the opportunity. So thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Further discussions or comments? Commissioner Johnson.
Motion to approve 2024-172.
Motion been made for the approval of 2024-172. Further discussion? Seeing none, you are recognized to close.
Close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Withington?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
I recuse myself.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion passes 5 in favor, 1 recusal.
That concludes our regular agenda for this evening. Next on our agenda are the discussion items. We have one item up for discussion. Administrator?
Thank you, Commissioners. We have guests here this evening interested in presenting to the Commission about one of the programs available here in Clay County. It's called Level Up Kids Program, and I'd like to introduce Bridget Mendoza, who is going to do a presentation to the Commission.
My name is Bridget Mendoza. Many of you know me. I also am with the Clay County Economic Development Council. I am also a board member with Level Up Kids, one of many boards I have sat on, crazy me, for many years. This is a board that I am very passionate about, an organization that actually invests into the children of our community. Level Up Kids is an amazing resource, and I'm sure many of you have heard of it. We provide dental and eye care for children in our community. We go to the schools, counselors call us, let us know that they have children that have got issues. We also have a brick and mortar where parents could bring them if they need to. Right now, what I would like to do is I want to introduce Christy May. She is our executive director, and we would be lost without her. She has been there a number of years, and I'm going to have her talk to you a little bit about exactly what it is that she sees day in and day out within our offices.
Thank you, Bridget. Again, I'm Christy May, Executive Director of Level Up Kids. I've been with the organization since we were Miles of Smiles back in 2002. We were Miles of Smiles until 2019. Our mission as Level Up Kids is to provide access to services that empower families and create opportunities for low-income children to succeed in school and life. That's our overarching mission. And as Bridget mentioned, we offer free, comprehensive dental care and eye care in schools. We are a school-based healthcare organization. We also have a building at 5416 Northeast Antioch Road. We have 4 dental chairs there where we see kids before and after school. We employ 13 full-time people and another 6 or 7 part-time people. We have full-time practitioners that take care of kiddos every single day. Back in 2002 is when we started. We were actually a program under Northland Healthcare Access. And by 2005, we were seeing so many children and had so many schools to visit that we wanted to become our own 501c3 and expand our diversity of funding and the number of children that we were able to serve. So in 2005, we became Miles of Smiles, Inc. And you can see this little timeline here. We just continued to grow. And by late 2019, we decided to change our name so that we could add other programs. We currently have the 2 programs, and we are looking to expand and hope to offer well child visits, perhaps some hearing screenings, and some other school-based programs. Here are just some really nice pictures of the children that we see, and they are so happy to get free dental and vision care. This is just a couple of pictures. This is our van that we take to schools, and we actually unload the equipment. Our staff wheel it out on a ramp, and we take these compressors and these chairs. You can see here it's just a regular tool cart. We actually set up a mini clinic inside the schools. And from there, we start pulling children from the classroom for short periods of time. Prior to our arrival, we've worked with the school nurses and school social workers to get consent to treat, and we have full consent to do full service dental care. So when children just get to walk down the hall and get their cavities filled, get a good cleaning, and get tons of good oral health education, and they leave every appointment with an oral health kit. We also recently have been providing vision screenings. We work with many of the school buildings here in the Northland to provide a comprehensive screening to all the children in the building. And then once we identify the children who need a further full eye exam, we send home the consent to treat, and if they meet our income guidelines, we bring a van. And here, this is a picture of the van. It's just a big Sprinter van with a sliding door, and it is outfitted with a full eye exam chair and all the equipment in there. And so we could do a complete eye exam, and if they need glasses, the children get to pick out their eyeglasses right there on the van. We have all the neat little frame kits, just like when you go to the eye doctor. And the children have such a sense of pride when they get to pick out their frames. They don't have mom or dad or grandma there to help sway their decision. They get to pick out their own frames. And a few weeks later, we were able to deliver those glasses back to the school and fit them right on their face. And so I just wanted to tell you that our Miles of Smiles dental program in Clay County, we primarily serve Clay and Platte County. Those were our roots. In recent years, we've received a couple of grants to go into the northeast corridor of Jackson County, but we primarily see Clay and Platte County. In fact, 70 to 72% of all of our patients that we see are Clay County residents. And we track that, we get the addresses and visit the schools. So in the year 2023, we visited 25 schools with our dental team. We saw 2,715 Clay County patients. And of those 2,715, 72%, so that's about 1,900 kids, demonstrated reduced cavities when they came back a second time. Our vision program visited 53 schools in Clay County doing vision screenings. And of those, 37 we visited back with a van, and we did comprehensive eye exams at 37 schools in Clay County. So in total, we did almost 12,000 vision screenings in Clay County and almost 1,200 eye exams in Clay County. And we offered 322 urgent care appointments for Clay County children. That's kind of a metric we track for Clay County Children's Services Fund. They want to know how many urgent appointments we have. And for Clay County kiddos, we had 322 kids who were in pain, and we were able to get into either our office or our school clinic within 24 hours. So here's another slide these are calendar year numbers here, but I wanted to share those specific Clay County numbers with you. So in closing, here's just a few fun pictures. I just wanted to let you know that these services are so important. A lot of families who are struggling to make decisions between keeping the lights on and getting groceries on the table, they often pick those things over dental care and vision care. It's sometimes a low priority. So we're very proud to be able to offer these services here in Clay and Platte County. We are the envy of many other counties in the Metroplex. We have had some challenges recently with funding in post-COVID. We've had many foundations that have historically funded us, and they've changed their guidelines. One of them is our very favorite, the Linscomb Foundation, who's been around for many, many years. They were our seed money, and they've kind of changed their focus, so we've had decreased funding from one of our primary funders. Events and other things have struggled since COVID, and I'm just going to turn it back over to Bridget as a board member so she can kind of tell you what we're leaning on you for. Thanks.
So the reason that I am passionate about this, everything that I've ever done in my career has been service-oriented. Everything I have done. It has to align with what my core values are as an individual, what is best for my community. I've been on this board now twice. I took a sabbatical. I went to Christie because I do not like to say I sit on a board just to say I sit on a board. I have to be active. I have to be able to align my beliefs with the strategic plan, the core values, and the mission of this organization. So I took a sabbatical because I'm also, thank God, a cancer survivor, and I've had 3 hits with the same cancer since 2014. So I took a sabbatical, and I let her know after about 5 months that I was ready to come back. And since I have come back, I have hit the ground running. It angers me when Foundation and even our own Clay County Children's Fund says, we want to gear more to mental health. How can you tell me a child who struggles to see in a classroom or a child who is sitting there in pain from a split tooth, a tooth that needs to be abstracted, does not suffer depression, and it doesn't affect their mental health, so they can't give us money? How is that even remotely possible? They struggle socially, depression, and we're talking about this every day. How can you tell me a child struggling does not affect their mental capacity. It does. You know, and to say it doesn't is a reason, I believe, why they don't want to gear the money toward organizations such as ours. We go to schools, so mom or dad do not have to take off work. We don't send them home with a bill because it's like Christy said. I mean, I talked to a lady when I was in our brick and mortar one day, and she says, this is amazing. She goes, the thing that I am most grateful for is I am not going to see a bill. She goes, honestly, she goes, I had to make a decision. Do I get dental insurance at work at a cost? I know it's not a lot, but then what do I not provide on our table to eat? It's a reality. I mean, unfortunately, and you all know, insurance rates are crazy. Benefits are not there anymore. This is an organization that is an investment into the children of our community. And I told Christy, I said, what I would like to do is take this program to the county so that they're aware of what we are doing, and if they could find it in their hearts to siphon some county money to our organization so we could continue to do what we said we want to do, and that is take care of every single child that we can within our community. It is very important to us. It doesn't stop when summer school is out. It doesn't stop for breaks. We have parents who bring their children into our brick and mortar when we are on school breaks. So it isn't an organization that shuts down because the school shut down. There are times when mom, yes, she may have to take off work, or dad may have to take off work because what we need to do for that child can't be done in a van. But it gets done. And the highest percentage of students that we are taking care of, and children and kiddos that we are taking care of, the highest percentage are out of Clay County. So I am asking you, as a Clay County native and someone who is very, very loyal to my community, to please consider Level Up Kids when you are talking about contributing to 501(c)(3)s. Because this is something that I am very passionate about. I always will be. I know some of you have heard of us. Will Akins was amazing. He was one of our runway walkers a few years ago at our one big fundraiser of the year that we call it Brush Up on Fashion.
A couple of our commissioners were.
A couple of our commissioners have also been there. And it's an amazing process to see the community come together at that fundraiser that we have. But unfortunately, our fundraiser, the funds have also decreased. So what my plea to you guys is to find it in your hearts that if there is any kind of county funding that you could give to us so we can continue with our kiddos, providing services that we pledge to provide to them, that I pledge as a board member to make certain that none of our kids suffer, our kids can see, our kids could interact in school. Because for me, that is the most important thing in the world. And when I go to bed at night, I go to bed at night knowing that I have done everything that I could for people that I don't even know. Not only my family, for children in our community that I don't even know. And that's what my ask is this evening.
Commissioner Lawson.
No, I was really blessed, had the opportunity to go there and see their brick and mortar building, and I got to see the van and everything else. The thing that I found, probably the thing that scares me the most is going to the dentist. And as a little kid, of course, it's frightening as heck. But I wouldn't even be scared to go in there. Each room has a different theme. You know, one is like a space room, one's like a jungle. They're just very welcoming rooms. And, you know, what they do is an amazing thing. And I really appreciated the time that you gave me to go through and take a look at that. So I appreciate what you do very much. It's a very worthwhile organization.
Thank you. We try, and you know, our kids that come in, they also leave with toothbrushes and toothpaste. We always give those out. They really think it's pretty amazing that they could pick their own eyeglasses when they're in the van. It's like, oh, I could do this all on my own, and they're really excited about it. It gives them a little bit of independence in a really small way.
Commissioner Wagner.
Thank you. Thanks for being here tonight. And I do remember the fashion show. I think I did participate in it about 4 or 5 years ago. Hopefully that wasn't a down year, but we'll hope for the best on that one. But curious, since you didn't really get into the numbers, that seems to be my theme tonight, of asking about numbers. So just curious to know, in no particular order, just kind of the general budget, kind of what are you working with? Then what have you seen kind of go away, if there's kind of a round number, as you've mentioned Lipscomb, you've mentioned the Children's Fund, and then just curious if there's like a per person average cost, just to kind of get a feel for, to help one student, one child, whether it's dental wise or with glasses, kind of what that cost is. So
Sure.
yeah.
I'd be happy to answer that. Our annual budget for 2024 is $1.9 million. It seems like a lot of money. But again, we do provide full-time employment for 3 dentists, 2 part-time optometrists, and all the support staff that go along with that. We have 6 dental assistants, 3 vision technicians, and myself and a director of finance and a couple of part-time program coordinators that do all the calling the school social workers, registering the patients, and things like that. So we're very, we pay, our budget is primarily for salaries. We do pay a little bit of rent at 5416. So, and we have vans, we pay insurance and fuel, and so we have overhead. We carry professional liability insurance and all the appropriate things. So we have now been in business for 22 years, and that is what it costs for us to run the organization. And when you look at our allocation of expenses on our 990, like 87% of our expenses are program related. So we are not heavy on fundraising or administrative expenses. Over the last couple of years, we have lost several large grants. The Linscomb Foundation, for one, was giving us $400,000 a year, and they have now cut us back to $100,000 a year. Fortunately, Medicaid reimbursement has gone up. We've had a little bit of luck in Jefferson City with some realignment of values that the Medicaid reimbursement has gone up, and that has helped out. Also, we've been lucky the last 2 years we have received Clay County Children's Services Fund, which has offset that loss of the Linscomb Foundation money. And I think that was a strategic decision on the Linscomb Foundation part, because they saw that we were getting Clay County money, and they didn't want to, just continue to fund us at a level that we didn't need. So we are a financially sound organization. You can take a look at our 990. We are sound. But we have had some indicators that things are getting more and more competitive. There's some other grants, ranging from $10,000 to $75,000 that we are accustomed to getting, and they are changing their guidelines. That there's a lot of focus on mental health. There's a lot of focus recently on early childhood education opportunities. And I try to go in the side door on all of those things. I like to argue that if you're not doing well in school and your teeth are hurting, your mental health is suffering, your self-esteem, your social skills, and we do go to Head Start programs. We see children in preschool, and we are trying to diagnose all of these issues at a very early age and instill good oral health behaviors and all those things. So we're competing, just like for-profit, for dollars, and we just have an indicator that there's some pretty big sources of money that will be diminished. We have this wonderful Brush Up on Fashion event every year, and it's historically been about $120,000 a year event for us. And this past year, it was 70. There was just a mix of lower sponsorships, people spending less money on silent auctions, and just things like that. So I'm looking ahead to the next 12 to 18 months, and I'm doing my job and trying to find some new sources of funding, and or we might have to cut, services, which we certainly don't want to do. So I appreciate your consideration. By the way, we do track like per patient visit. If we take all of our program costs and divide it by every time we have a kiddo sit in the chair, we call it like all of our chair visits. It's about $140. Obviously, if you're doing an extraction and a four-surface cavity, that's a little bit more expensive than maybe an eye exam. But overall, if you average everything that we do, it's about $140 every time you put a kiddo in the chair. So.
Gotcha. No, that's perfect.
And we have I don't know, whatever I said, 12 or 15,000 chair visits, a year. So.
The other thing that I want to add is the staff that we have at Level Up Kids is amazing. They are there because they are passionate and they believe in our mission. We had trouble hiring at one time because they could go to Quick Trip and start at $21 an hour, which was more than what our budget allows to pay out. And that's really sad. So the staff that we have, they're amazing. They're there because they want to be. They're there because they believe in what we do. They're there because they want to help our kids. And I do want to say that. We also, because neither one of us said anything about it, we go to Synergy Services. We have a chair there. And we go there and we provide services at the Youth Resilience Center there at Synergy Services as well. So we are trying to hit every single type of program that we can to take care of our kids here in the Northland.
By the way, Commissioner, I'm quite jealous that you were on the runway. I myself am not runway material, but apparently you cut a much more suave figure than myself.
Well, Commissioner Carpenter was our most recent one.
Commissioner Carpenter.
Nobody's safe. We might ask you.
Thank you. I've actually done it twice now, so you got some catching up to do. All of you do. It's a great event, and even you should go. I'm a big fan, and big fan of the organization. Thank you for being here and doing the presentation. I think what you do for the children of Clay County and the Northland is amazing work. Big fan, and a big fan of Christy May specifically. Just so you all know, the amount of expansion that's taken place under her leadership over the last couple of decades now, I suppose, has been massive. And it hasn't been the type of expansion where it's just adding to, the administrative budget. We're talking huge increases in the number of kids who are in need and who get help, who get served. And you deserve all kinds of credit for that. I think we absolutely, coming into this fall, as we look at our budget for next year, absolutely ought to give a lot of consideration. In fact, I'm willing to say yes personally right now, that we make some kind of contribution. We do a certain number, not too many, but a handful of contributions to outside agencies. I think this would be a fantastic one to add to the books. Yeah, I'm just a big fan. Look, the biggest need we have in this country right now in terms of financial need, folks who are struggling, et cetera. I've said it before, you've heard me, and I'll say it a bunch more times, you probably get annoyed with me, but it's young family with kids. All of the statistics make it very clear the young family with kids in this country are there's need in every demographic group of all types, of course. But the highest need is young family with kids. Whatever we can do to keep that front of mind as we enact public policy, I think would be a good thing. And you'll have my full support and hopefully getting you some money to help even more kids here in the county. And so thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you for your time. I know you're going to talk about this at another time, but thank you for tonight. We appreciate it.
We appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Commissioner we're still in discussion. Commissioner Withington?
I was just gonna, I had a tooth extracted this week, so it's hard for me to, yesterday actually, so it's hard for me to talk, but my painkillers are wearing off. But can we make sure they get included on the budgeting or the?
Right. They're on the list.
Okay.
So our list is kind of growing. We're keeping track of all agencies that have approached you all. And I would say probably in June or July, the intent is to come back to the commission for a discussion item about what is that process that you want to use in identifying outside agencies for the 2025 budget. So we'll have some ideas and then certainly want the commission to give us direction on how you want to proceed. So, but they're on the list.
Well, Commissioner, you may be considerably younger than myself, but I don't think you quite qualify for the Level Up Kids program. Youthful though you may be.
No, I had a lot of anxiety. I hate going to the dentist. I had to take a couple of Xanax just to walk through the front door, so, yeah.
Further discussion on this subject? I think what we're looking at then is this organization would be on the list for consideration as we approach that part of our budget in this year as we go forward. So, and you require no real direction from the commission apart from that, I suspect. Is that correct? You need no direction or any consensus?
Correct.
Very good. All right, that brings us to administrator comments.
Just a couple. Announcement that county administrative offices will be closed on Monday in observance of Memorial Day. We certainly want to express our sincere appreciation to all our armed services and for those that have given the greatest sacrifice. And also the Commission's next meeting is Thursday, June 6th at 6 p.m. here in the chambers.
That brings us to Commissioner comments. Commissioner Carpenter, we'll start with you if you don't mind.
Sure. Well, I'll just echo the Happy Memorial Day sentiment to everybody. Hope everybody enjoys it. And, you know, keeping those who have given their lives in the service of our country, I think it's an important necessary thing that we do that as a country. And frankly, while that should be top line, I would add to it anybody who has put their life on the line in service of the country, and that's in the armed forces, as well as folks who work in law enforcement every day. I'm proud my grandfather served in World War II in the Pacific Theater. My other grandfather served in Korea. Sister was a Marine, brother-in-law is a Marine. He went on to, and still does, work for the Department of Homeland Security for Custom and Border Patrol, and he, for a number of years, was out on the boats outside of Florida, interdicting smugglers trying to come to the United States, and often found himself in some harrowing situations, protecting the homeland. And so to everybody who works for, whether it's our sheriff's deputies here in Clay County, our police officers, the FBI agents in our country, everybody who does work to protect us and puts their life on the line for us, as well as those who have given their lives, of course. I hope we all take the time to reflect on what we owe them. Great, amazing country, greatest that's ever existed, and without those folks, we wouldn't be here, so thanks.
Commissioner Thompson.
I mirror what he said.
Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Wagner. Commissioner Lawson.
I have something to say. I'm glad the sheriff stayed. When we talked about the looking at the immigration issue and all of that stuff, and we came back and started talking again, I don't know if you're talking about me or somebody else, but I will say, and I felt the way I spoke. Nobody sitting up here has ever supported law enforcement more than I have. And I think any of you on the Sheriff's Department are more than aware of that. My husband was an officer for 20-some years. I'm solidly behind our police, our deputies, whoever. But I will stand by what I said, as I always do. I was disappointed because I guess when we were talking about this issue, I was fairly passionate about it because I see what it's doing to the country. And what I wanted from our sheriff, and I said this in my remarks that evening, I said, I realize the horrible restrictions that are placed on law enforcement in this area. But I think what I wanted to see from the sheriff was a little bit of more of reinforcement, not so much saying these are the things I cannot do. And I would have loved to hear something like, my hands are darn tied and I can't do this and I can't do this. But I appreciate the lawlessness that surrounds this issue. I appreciate all of the issues that are brought to this country because of the illegals, and and at least have that. And I felt like I didn't get that. By no means was I saying I don't like our sheriff. I think he does a lousy job. I don't have great respect for him or something of that nature. I said how I felt, and I won't take it back because I did feel that way. And I would have liked to have seen a little bit of reinforcement, I guess, is what I was looking for, because you see this stuff firsthand. The department, your people, have to put up with this crap firsthand. So I guess I just wanted a little pat on the back and somebody to say, yeah, you guys go for it. I'm all behind you, and I support you, but my hands are tied in so many ways. So anyway, that's all I've got to say. Yes, kudos to our vets. My dad was a vet, served in the Second World War, was in Germany and fought. All of my uncles were all in the service in Italy, all over Europe fighting. And my brother, everybody in the family has always gone into the military. My husband as well was a Marine Corps vet. So God bless them all. God protect those that are over there serving now. And Monday, there will be a really nice celebration in Kearney out at the Jesse James Park. So go online, and I don't have all the particulars on that, but go, and it's going to be quite a celebration. And they've got that, what do they call it? I guess it's a memorial that they've set up. And I when talking to the preacher who was here earlier, he said it's an amazing setup. So please come and make sure that you participate in that on Monday.
Commissioner Withington. Nothing? Very well. Want to mention also that obviously I associate myself with the comments made about our veterans and about those who have made so many sacrifices for our liberty, and it is a debt that is without capability of us repaying. All we can do is do our best to support them. One of the things that we as a county have done is we are participating in the We Care program. That's something that came about last year. I think this is an appropriate time to mention that we are one of the pilot programs, and that the programming, essentially what it does is it assists in providing child care for Army reservists when they are deployed or go off on training. I think any working family with children understands that daycare is a huge challenge. And so our ability to extend some degree of help and assistance to those families who are making that sacrifice. Sacrifice is it's certainly a tremendous thing, but that sacrifice is all the more poignant when it's being made by people who have children who also depend upon them. And so I think that it's altogether fitting that we participate in this and that we acknowledge their sacrifice and their readiness to go forward and do what needs to be done to protect us from the dark forces that are unfortunately out there in the world. The second item I'd like to talk about, a different issue altogether, the legislature had adjourned Friday. One of the things that did get through of the few items that were passed was an issue by Senator Luetkemeyer related to Senate Bill 190. I think it's worth mentioning first off because I think it was a good fix. Secondarily, it did a couple of different things. One of the things it did was to make sure and clarify that there was not a look back, because that could be very complicated and very costly to apply it retroactively. The other thing, which I think reflects credit on this county, on the members of this commission who worked just to fashion our ordinance and our policies going forward, particularly Commissioner Lawson, and that is they did, I think, which was the best possible thing they could have done, and that is adopted the policies that we developed here, and that was to, instead of making it Social Security benefit qualified, make it a 62 years of age. That does two very important things in my estimation. It makes the ability for a senior to apply much easier, and it also allows a much broader inclusion. I think we were all I think disappointed that the original legislation did not necessarily include retired teachers, some other federal retired workers, and I think that we came up with a plan that that gave every senior an equal chance at taking advantage of this program. And I think that's got to be our focus, is to make sure that we are giving all citizens an equal opportunity to take advantage of whatever programs are offered. And I think that I'm glad the state government decided to follow the wisdom of this commission. Congratulations to this commission for being forward-thinking. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, because I think you did a sterling job, and we are looking forward to implementing this program and seeing the benefits go towards those seniors who so richly deserve it, many of whom are, of course, veterans. With that, we next on the item are executive sessions. Is there a motion related to our executive session item? Commissioner Johnson.
I move that the commission goes into executive session for personnel and contractual matters under RSMO 610.021, subsection 3 and subsection 12.
Motion has been made for the commission to go into executive session under personnel under Missouri Statute 610.021, parentheses 3, and contractual 610.021, parentheses 12, and to adjourn therefrom. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, you're recognized to close.
Close.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Whittington? Yes. Commissioner Lawson? Yes. Commissioner Wagner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
With that, we will go into executive session and adjourn therefrom. Thank you very much.